was a lot of fun watching the Super Bowl, even though it was a snooze fest last night. That is 100% truth. That game really, really wanted to put us to sleep. Low scoring Super Bowl in history. 16 points is all they could muster between the two of them. Truly baffling. The Rams could do absolutely nothing on the offensive side of the ball for the entirety of the game. They had 50 yards of offense in the first half. Um, the Patriots defense, they were all over all over Goff all night. Every time you look up, Hightower's in the backfield on him. Claiborne's in the backfield on him. Somebody was on him. They threw the ball 38 times. Actually, we'll just go ahead and go through. We'll go through the stats. Some quick stats from the game. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you here. But obviously, the final score was the New England Patriots 13, the Los Angeles Rams 3. But we'll go through the stats. The quarterbacks, Tom Brady, he finished 21 of 35 for 262, no touchdowns, one interception, and he was sacked one time for 9 yards. And his QBR ended up only being 25.8. Good morning, David. The Rams, Jared Goff, he finished 19 of 38. He completed 50% of his passes for 229 and one interception. The one interception that really ended the game for the Rams. They had a chance to go down a tie, and he threw up an ugly, ugly pass, and it ended up being intercepted. He was sacked 4 times for 31 yards, and his final QBR for the game was 13.4. So not great quarterback play from either team. It was just an ugly game, ugly, sloppy game. Sony Michel, he almost cracked 100. He finished with 18 carries for 94 yards. And he had the lone touchdown of the night in that fourth quarter. His long run of the night was 26 yards. Burkhead also had a run for 26 yards. But as a team, the Patriots, they carried the ball 32 times for 154 yards with an average of 4.8 yards per carry. And like I said, the lone touchdown of the night scored by Sony Michel in the fourth quarter. Todd Gurley, he finished with 10 carries, 35 yards. C.J. Anderson only carried the ball 7 times for 22 yards. And as a team, they carried the ball 18 times for 62 yards, averaged 3.4 per carry. And the long run of the night was Gurley with a 16-yarder. Then receiving stats down here, you get down to Julian Edelman, who was your Super Bowl MVP. It looked like he was going to break the record for most catches in a Super Bowl game, but he came one catch short of tying that record. He finished with 10 catches for 141 yards, was targeted 12 times with a long of 27. Gronk had 6 catches for 87 and a long of 29. He had the long reception of the night out of anybody. I believe that's the longest play of the night by anybody, 29 yards by Gronk. And I believe that was the play that set them up inside the 1 or at the 1-yard line in that fourth quarter. Brandon Cooks led the Los Angeles Rams with 8 catches for 120 yards and a long of 24. And Robert Woods, the team's leading receiver on the season, had 5 catches for 70 yards. Tom Brady did fumble once to go along with his 1 interception, but it was recovered by New England, so it ended up not being so bad. C.J. Anderson also fumbled, and that one went out of bounds, so they got away with fumbling the ball as well. We got Jonathan Jones from the Patriots, had a sack. He had 8 total tackles, 6 solo, and 1 hit on the quarterback. Stephon Gilmore, he did have the 1 interception for the New England defense. And he had 5 tackles, 5 solo, 3 pass defenses. Who else do we got here? Dante Hightower, like I said, he was wreaking havoc getting to the quarterback. He had 2 total tackles, 2 solo tackles, 2 sacks on the night, 1 pass defense, and he had 3 hits on the quarterback. So did Kyle Van Noy. Kyle Van Noy had 4 total, 4 solo tackles, 1 sack, and 3 QB hits. So they were putting pressure. They hit Goff a total of 12 times. Had 4 sacks in the ball game and 7 tackles for loss. Brady was sacked 1 lone time by John Franklin Myers. They didn't really get to Brady as much. They only had 4 quarterback hits. They were causing issues. Their defensive line was, but they just couldn't get him down. or get any shots on him. And as you can see here, Stephon Gilmore had the one interception for the Patriots down here at the bottom of the screen. Corey Littleton, he also had one interception on the tip pass on Brady's first pass of the ballgame for the Rams. Cordell Patterson had the one kick return in the game for 38 yards, and that was the one that opened the game, I believe it was. No big punt returns from either team. Steven Gostkowski, he was 2 for 3. He missed his first attempt of the night, but it ended up not meaning so much, obviously. But that's just the name they went for it. Honestly, they only use their feet in the kicking, but I don't. That's a good question for why they actually call it football. But it gets categorized as American football, and then they spell them 2 different ways as well. But I guess depending on where you're at. But like I said, Gostkowski, he missed his first kick, and he made his last 2. And Zuerlein made a 53-yarder to tie the game at one point at 3. Yeah, that's just the way. That's just the way that they did it here in America. To be honest, here I'll look that up in a second. We'll look that up and see what the definitions are for that, or why they did that. Zuerlein, he did kick another field goal with 8 seconds left, but he missed it. It was pretty much over at that point. And Hekker, he had the longest punt. One of the highlights of the night, longest punt in NFL history, 65 yards by Johnny Hekker of the Los Angeles Rams. But I will talk more about the game here in just a second. But let's go ahead and look that up. Give us something to look at here. Okay, so football is called football because you use your feet to play the game. You play on your feet. So that's technically where the term football comes from, because you play with your legs. And obviously it got its findings and roots from rugby, but they obviously changed the rules up. But it's American football, and it's called football because they play the game on their feet. It should, but they call it soccer. I'm about to look that up as well, where that term comes from for American. Today is often said, blah, 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 blah. So what I see here, meanwhile, da 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 da. So American Association. So soccer is pretty much just an Americanization. Yeah, I understand what you mean with that, but the term soccer is pretty much an Americanization of the game. That's just kind of they gravitated towards calling it soccer, and that's just pretty much where that term comes from what I gathered with what I just read. So it was just an Americanization, from what I gather, for the most part, because I believe it is really the only place that calls it soccer. But I mean, growing up, that's what we always called it here in the States. But good questions. We're learning some things this morning. Um, but I'm just going to talk about the Super Bowl now, just in general terms, and then I will probably we'll look up some other news going on in the sports world. Um, but Super Bowl, I'll start out by saying it was boring. If somebody tells you it wasn't boring, they must not have been watching the same game, or they were a fan of the Patriots. Because the Patriots moved the ball. They had some times where they shot themselves in the foot. No, I've already gone through university or through college, so I've already finished myself. But the game as a whole was very boring. It was hard to watch. I obviously did the live stream last night. No, I didn't play any sports. I attended a lot of sports, but I didn't play any. uh, but I had the live stream up. I was hoping to get some live reaction highlights, but there's just nothing that really happened in the game. It was long and drug out, and it was pretty pretty boring in general. I am uh, a lot of people these days suffer from Bama fatigue, is what it's called a lot of times here. But I attended and still support the University of Alabama when it comes to college sports. As far as the NFL, I am a Tennessee Titans fan. They're not even 2 hours from me, so. But I attended and I went to the university. I graduated from the University of Alabama 2 years ago, so that's where I went to school for college anyway. But the game uh, was boring. The Patriots pretty much dominated. The game was close. Obviously, they couldn't punch it in. They couldn't do anything as far as scoring wise. I was telecommunication and film, so it's sports broadcasting kind of stuff. That's why I like this stuff. But I went for sports, basically sports broadcasting, but it was telecommunication and film is what I went for. But Tom Brady got his sixth ring last night. 6 in 9 games. He's played in 9 games as a player. He's won 6 as a player. Only one other franchise has won 6 as a franchise, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Tom Brady's won 6 on his own, with Bill Belichick, of course. They're 6-3 in Super Bowl games. They're very you can't deny. You can love them, hate them, but you can't deny greatness. It's hard to say. It's at some point you just gotta, no matter how bad you hate them, you have to just realize how good they actually are. Which again they proved. You could say greatest of all time, specifically coach and quarterback combo. Jared Goff last night, he looked, I want to say on 75% or 80% of the plays, he looked shook. He looked like he was lost. He looked like he was just didn't know what was going on some of the time. But that was from the Patriots' pressure on him. They were all in his face all night. Hightower was all over him. Almost sacked him in the end zone twice for safety. But like I said earlier, a very boring game. Was the lowest scoring game in NFL or Super Bowl history. The commercials were very lackluster last night. Overall, there were some decent ones. Bud Light was trying to push the whole corn syrup factor about their competitors like Coors Light and stuff like that. It was kind of dumb, to be honest. To be quite honest, my favorite one was probably the Super Bowl Legends commercial where they were all running around the ballroom and throwing the football around. Which that one it included Ninja, which a lot of people on Twitch know, and if you play Fortnite at all, you know who Ninja is. He was in that commercial, and I believe I didn't see him, but Tim the Tatman was supposed to be in that commercial as well. He's another very popular streamer right here on Twitch. They both play a lot of Fortnite. But the game, I said this on Friday. I wish the Falcons would have had a better season and they could have played a game in their home stadium for the Super Bowl. Wouldn't that have been an interesting thing to be able to see a team play in their own stadium? Which I don't know if that's ever happened. If somebody knows, please tell me. That would be a very interesting thing to see. Is to see a team play in their own stadium for a Super Bowl championship. That'd be a very interesting thing to see. Oh, my Twitch alerts aren't working, but Calent TW, I appreciate the follow. I just got the email. Thanks for dropping the follow. Thanks for stopping by. But for some reason, my Twitch alerts aren't working. It should have popped up on the screen. Let me check that out real quick. Excuse me.
All right.
See, I tested. They should be working. I don't understand why it's not working. But anyway, thanks for the follow. I did get the email. I'll have to figure out my Twitch alerts to get all that stuff squared away. Because it didn't work last night with donations either. It worked for all the follows that came through, but it didn't work for donations that came through. But no, the Patriots, they won Super Bowl number 6. They and the Pittsburgh Steelers stand alone at the top of Super Bowl Mountain with 6 championships apiece. Julian Edelman was your MVP, 10 catches, 141 yards. I'm looking at some articles here. Todd Gurley said he felt good last night. Just kind of shrugged off the fact that he was used not very much. He had 10 rushes in the game. But you saw in the second half, he had some rushes. He had some good runs. I don't understand why they didn't stick to that. They were too worried about the Rams were too worried about trying to throw the football. I don't understand. Todd Gurley had some nice runs to start that second half and in spots in the second half that they should have rode him. I don't understand. The game, it was still a ball game at that point. It was 3-3 in the third quarter. It was 3-3 going into the fourth quarter. The Patriots didn't even score that touchdown until the fourth quarter with 7 minutes left. And then, of course, they scored that one final field goal to put the game pretty much out of reach with just over a minute left. But very head-scratching. Todd Gurley should have been used. Todd Gurley should have carried the ball 20 times. And Goff probably should have thrown the ball like 10 less times. Head-scratching. He's your superstar. I don't understand why you wouldn't use him. But the Patriots played great defense throughout the game. You can't deny that. The Rams, for the most part, they stood up when they needed to. But the Patriots, they are your Super Bowl 53, Super Bowl 2019, your 2018-2019 Super Bowl champions, NFL champions in the season. Congratulations to all the Patriots fans out there on your 6th Super Bowl championship in 18 years. 6 out of 18. Literally 1/3 of the last 18 Super Bowls they've won. And it was 17 years to the day that the first time they beat the Rams. And they won championship number 1. But they now have 6 titles as an organization. So, congratulations to all you New England fans. I didn't have a dog in the fight last night, but I did support my team, even though they obviously weren't playing in the Tennessee Titans. But that's all I'll say about last night's game, I guess, unless some topics pop up or somebody has a question about it. But other than that, I'll move on from there. We're still talking some football stuff here.